Oh yeah, welcome everyone. Happy Friday. Welcome to another episode of the SEO Video Show. Today we got a special guest, Robert Portillo. We're going to be talking about CRO for SEO, some e-commerce SEO tips. Don't forget to visit today's sponsor, hrefs.com/AWT. Be sure to say hi in the live chat when you join. I see a few of you out there already. We're still waiting on Robert in the back. How's everyone doing? Let me know. Kamuda, hello! Hey Kamuda, are you from the US? If you are, send me your address and I'll send you a copy of the SEO in 2022 book. I got a few more copies to give away of the SEO in 2022 book. SEO in 2023 book is coming out very, very soon, so be on the lookout for that. Today's topics, we'll be talking about CRO for SEO, some e-commerce SEO, some great things with our very special guest, Robert Portillo. I see him calling in the back. Let's see if he can hear us. Robert, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Okay, I can't see you, but I can hear you. I see some kind of flashing. Oh, there it goes. Oh, there it goes. All right, perfect. Look good. Love it here. You sound well. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do a few, videos in the very beginning. It takes me about 8 minutes, 12 after 8, and I will be able to introduce you in.
Okay, thanks.
All right, cool. So your mic's live, so if you want to say anything, you can say anything. But there's a bunch of people in the live chat saying what's up. We have Kamuda from San Jose. All right. Don't be shy, guys. Let me know where you're watching from. Today's topics, we'll be talking about CRO for SEO and a few e-commerce SEO tips with a very, very special guest, Robert Portillo. Don't forget to visit today's sponsors, hrefs.com/AWT. Stefan, my man. Hi, everyone. Hola, hola. Hobby, hello. Yasmin Haas. Happy Friday, guys. Oh, yeah. Happy Friday, everyone. Don't be shy. Say hi in the live chat. Today we'll be talking about CRO for SEO, some e-commerce SEO tips, with our very special guest today, Robert Portillo of Nimbus Marketing Group. Don't forget to visit today's sponsor, hrefs.com/AWT. Carol Fry, hello from Seattle, Washington. Hello. All right, guys. I'm going to start keeping up with our weekly recaps. If you want to join the list for our SEO recaps, or I'm going to pull out all the knowledge bombs every week, so be sure to subscribe to the SEO recap at seo.video/recap. Actually, let me spell this here. All right, guys, we've got about 2 more minutes to go. We'll be talking about CRO for SEO, some e-commerce SEO tips from our very special guest today, Robert Portillo of Nimbus Marketing Group. Don't forget to visit today's sponsor, hrefs.com/AWT. So if you want the weekly knowledge bombs, I extract them every week. Sign up for SEO.video/recap and you'll get that in your mail every Monday, I hope. I see a bunch of you out there. There's about 16 so far right now in the live stream. Be sure to say hi in the live chat and let me know where you're watching from. Kobe, my man. Ernesto, what's up, Dre and Robert? Hello. All right, guys, we got less than 1 minute to go. I'm going to go ahead and get things ready here. So be sure to put your last minute shout outs in the live chats and they will come up on screen. Ali Kaban, what's up? All right, today's topics, we'll be talking about CRO for SEO, some e-commerce SEO tips, and so much more. We're gonna learn Robert's SEO journey, some of his very favorite SEO strategies. Don't forget to visit today's sponsor, hrefs.com/AWT.
Let's work. Wanna see you be an SEO expert. Paul Andre De Vera, steady dropping knowledge. Over 15 years in the game, so he knows all about it. Master the art of SEO, you will be amazed. Time to get your brand off page to on page. Dropping knowledge, legendary for sure. Whether you're just getting started or self-employed entrepreneur. Yeah, let's go. Subscribe to the SEO video show. Hey.
Hey, welcome to another episode of the SEO video show where SEO is alive and fun. My name is Paul Andre De Vera, aka Dre, and I curate SEO videos released in the past week. And it's about 1 minute clips. My favorite part of the show is when I get to introduce my guest. My guest today is the founder of Nimbus Marketing Group, Robert Portillo. Before we get started, let's say what's up to everyone in chat. I see Ali, Ed Hobby, Ernesto, Kobe, Carol, Yasmin, Stefan, Kamuda, Stream Elements, so much more. Thank you much for coming by. All right, let's get on with the show.
This is Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man. What kind of fruit do SEOs like best? Low hanging.
All right, Martin and John from Google Chat had a chat about redirects on the Search Off the Record podcast. Let's check this one out.
With a 301 and 302, what is forwarded are GET requests. Mm-hmm. And with 307, 308, it also forwards POST requests. So if you have some kind of an API that uses POST requests, or if you have I don't know, I'd almost say like a broken setup that you have a form on one domain and the results are forwarded to a different one, then you would kind of use the 307, 308. I guess from kind of completeness point of view, if you always use them, then you're kind of like always safe. But that's kind of the difference there. I think for SEO, it doesn't really matter. It's more like, I don't know, does it work for APIs or not? And usually APIs are not something that you need to have indexed directly in search.
True. You only want the results of the APIs being used in rendering, probably.
All right. The VP of Search at Google headquarters, H.J. Kim, says EAT is used in every single query for every single result. Let's check this one out.
EAT is a core part of our metrics, and it stands for expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. This hasn't always been there in Google, and it's something that we developed about 10 to 12 or 13 years ago. And it really is there to make sure that along the lines of what we talked about earlier, is that it really is there to ensure that the content that people consume is going to be, it's not going to be harmful, and it's going to be useful to the user. These are principles that we live by every single day. An EAT, that template of how we rate an individual site based off of expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness, we do it to every single query and every single result. So it's actually very pervasive throughout everything that we do. I will say that the YMYL queries, the your money or your life queries, such as when I'm looking for a mortgage, or when I'm looking for the local ER, those we have a particular eye on, and we pay a bit more attention to those queries, because clearly they're some of the most important decisions that people can make, some of the most important decisions they'll ever make in their lives. So I would say that EAT has a bit more of an impact there, but again, I will say that EAT applies to everything, every single query that we actually look at.
Following EAT principles has always been a part of my SEO strategy, including like ranking videos. Okay, renaming pictures for extra SEO with Steve Weidman on the Lunch with Norm podcast. Let's check this one out.
Picture that has not already been indexed by Google, right? Pictures in the geek world are binary, right? There's zeros and ones. And if those zeros and ones are already in Google's database through Shutterstock or Getty Images or who knows, and you're using that image and just giving it a different name, it's probably not going to be very helpful. But if you're creating your own image that's not already on the web, it's not already in an image database somewhere, and you save it as keyword.jpg, yes, absolutely. And so we did that. And then we also played with the metadata. We did some work where we just basically took the image, we right-clicked, we went to image information where it had title and description and keywords and author and publisher, owner, trademark, all that kind of stuff, copyright. We filled out all that information, re-uploaded it, and then did some queries for some of the words that we used in it. And at the time, this was years back, they actually crawled it. They actually crawled that information, and it did help to appear for some of the different queries that we ran in Google Images.
If you're on a PC, you can also right-click file names for videos. YouTube patent talks about extracting metadata from video files, so be sure to add yours. If you're using Adobe Premiere, you can also input your metadata when you export, so check out that feature. How does Google use NLP? Explained by our buddy, Neil Patel. Let's check it out.
Picture that has not...
You first have speech recognition, text to speech and speech to text. Then you have extracting the meaning of sentences and parts of sentences or phrases, such as adjectives like too short, or prepositional phrases like to the house. Then you have recognizing basic forms of words and acquisition of grammatical information. Then you got recognizing functions of individual words in a sentence, such as a subject, a verb, adjective, or even an article. Then you have segmenting previously captured speech into individual words, sentences, and phrases. Without boring you with all the details, search engines are using NLP to figure out what your content's all about and matching it to what people or searchers want. This means that your rankings aren't just going to be based off of keywords. So when you're doing your SEO, don't think about keywords, but more so think about topics. What is everything that you need to cover on a specific web page to be thorough about your topic and to make sure people are like, whoa, this article covered everything. I don't need to go to another source. That way, there's no uncertainty for the reader or visitor.
To take the concept of entities and topics a little further, here is Chris Long on Whiteboard Friday on using entities for advanced on-page optimizations. Let's check this one out.
The keyword mindset is actually to shift to more of an entity mindset. So for an example, if you were going to optimize a page for the term retire early, instead of using the term retire early a bunch of times on the page, you could use tools like IBM Watson or Google Natural Language. Both of those have public-facing tools that you can run any text document you want through. And if you ran it from a result like Investopedia, you might see that retire early comes up with strategy or entities such as Vicky Robin and Joe Dominguez to the top authors about retire early. As well, when you take a look at competitor pages and have more of an entity mindset in mind, instead of just thinking about how many times they're using a keyword on the page, you're thinking more strategically about common topics and themes you want to integrate within your own website content.
This brings me to my favorite part of the show. Be sure to ask questions on topic, and I will address them in the order that we received. But before we introduce our guest, here's a word from our sponsor. Are you sick of your competitors outranking you in the search results? Your solution is Ahrefs Webmaster Tools, and it's free $99. This isn't one of your 14-day free trial offers. Instead, it's a super powerful tool that'll do a full website audit for you and keep working for you for free. It'll scan your site and prioritize precisely what you need to fix and improve for your search results. Visit ahrefs.com webmaster-tools for this free tool. Find the link below, and by checking our sponsors, you support this show. Now let's introduce our guest. Robert has started marketing in 1989 and now runs his own online marketing company that provides SEO and CRO services. He started learning SEO and web design in 2007. He founded Nimbus Marketing in 2014 to help small businesses tap into the online marketplace and grow much faster. He founded the Facebook group Conversion Rate Optimization Junkies in late 2019, and his membership has now reached over 9,000 people. He speaks at SEO conferences such as SEO Rockstars, SEO Spring Training. Please welcome CRO Junkie and founder of Nimbus Marketing, Robert Portillo. Robert, my man, welcome to the show. We can't hear you. Hello. I think you're on pause.
Hey man, thank you so much for that intro. It's such an honor to be here after seeing so many of those for other people, and I'm gonna have to just like snag a copy of that and use it for things with that. Thank you so much.
Love it, love it. Everyone, give a round of applause for Robert. All right, Robert. Let's get right into it. In 1 minute or less, how does Robert get ranking on page 1 of Google?
Oh, wow. Let's see if I can squeeze this in a minute. So it depends on if you're a beginner or more experienced. I'm assuming that the people that tune into your show are a bit more experienced. So what I recommend first is picking the right keywords. I've known from experience that, you go after sometimes these higher volume keywords and it takes forever, or you just can't rank for them, within your client's budget. So make sure you're, being realistic about the keywords that you're trying to rank for. If you're just starting out trying to rank in your niche, try to target lower volume, lower competition keywords, and you work your way up to more competitive, higher volume keywords. And don't rely on one tool for metrics. Use at least 3 tools, maybe 5 tools if you can, and average the data. I know tools can really lead you in the wrong direction if you rely on one of them. So don't make that mistake, use multiple tools, average the data, look for strange outliers, and really do your homework, because the last thing you want to do is get started off in the wrong direction. And then it really depends on what niche you're in. Start by optimizing your money page and content with a content optimization tool like Serper or Phrase, and get your page content, title tags, and meta descriptions and alt tags optimized. And then once you've done that and you're kind of in the ballpark, get the Cora app. This is a program made by Ted Kubaitis, and run a report for your keyword with it. Follow the tuning recommendations and focus on your HTML, tag structure, and other easy wins. Focus on your factor diversity compared to your top 10 competitors. You can learn more about this tool, by the way, at factor diversity at topseofactors.com. Once you've tuned your page, once you've tuned your page, or simultaneously as you're tuning your page, start focusing on backlinks. Analyze your top competitors' backlinks, determine how many they have and how powerful they are, and what their anchor text profiles look like. And then gradually start building as many powerful and, even more importantly, relevant backlinks as possible while emulating your top competitors' anchor text profiles. Be careful about buying niche edits and guest posts. They can be a complete waste of time and money if you get the wrong links, and most of them are indeed worthless.
Love it. I could probably split that up to 3 little parts right there. Thank you so much for dropping about 3 knowledge bombs. Okay, let me go ahead and rewind this real quick. Hold on. Okay, Robert, take us back, way back to like 1989, 2007. How did you first get into marketing and SEO?
Yeah, so I, early on, like in my early 20s, I think I was 21 when I bought my first marketing book. And I remember the first thing I learned was test and measure, right? And back then, there was no internet. And so, if you wanted to test, for example, you'd send out 5,000 postcards, for example, and 500 of them would have one code, another 500 would have another code. And then, you'd have to, if you got a conversion, you'd ask the customer, hey, what was the code? And then, so it was very complicated to test and measure your marketing if you weren't, a really big company. So, I kind of just kind of dabbled in marketing starting in 1989 and was just kind of always fascinated with how, people, why they would buy a product and not buy another product, right? So always kind of fascinated with the way people think. And then, I became an electronic technician. And then in 2001, I started my IT business. And for about 6 years, it took me a while to build up my client base. And I tried all kinds of different marketing. I mean, I used like bench ads and car wash display ads and, LA Weekly, Beverly Hills Courier, LA Times, Classifieds, Craigslist. Like I used to have a friggin' Craigslist server where we would, we had these phone verified accounts and we would, like literally I had this dedicated server that just spammed Craigslist and we used to get tons of business. And it was this tit for tat game where it was just getting cost prohibitive to do it. Mm-hmm. And around that time I met a guy named Lou. And he's like, oh, you ever heard of search engine optimization? I'm like, no, this is like 2007. I'm like, no, I haven't heard of that. And so he's like, oh, yeah, I'll help you out, And so I gave him a few $100 and pretty soon, I was searching on Google and I was finding my business like on the second and third page. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. I can't believe that. Mm-hmm. How do you do that? And then he kind of disappeared and left me kind of, trying to figure it out on my own. So I would type in, computer repair here in Los Angeles, right? Which by the way, at the time, there were over 2,000 computer repair companies. And this one company would always show up. And sometimes, like, if I type laptop repair, he'd show up like number 1, 2, and 3. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, how is he 3 times on, Sky Computer Services? I remember. How is he 3 times on the first page of Google and I'm not even on, the second page, And so I started just typing his company name in. And I started, just going through all the listings and I'm like, well, what is this? Like, and I started finding these bizarre places where he was listed. And then I was realized, oh, that's a citation. Mm-hmm. And then I started, doing the same thing. Like, so I was just in my infancy of SEO, I was doing competitor backlink research. I'm like, well, if he got a link there, then maybe I could get a link there. And so I started doing that. And it took me about 18 months. Now realize like I was doing service calls, like sometimes 5 computer repair service calls a day, HBO and Sony and UCLA and USC, like some of the biggest companies in Los Angeles. And I was doing SEO in my spare time. So it took me about 18 months, but I got to the first page and pretty soon I was absolutely dominating the first page. Like I was dominating the map pack. I was doing extremely well. And then it kind of went from there. My business grew. I built it up to the top computer repair and IT business. Los Angeles, opened a store on Abbot Kinney, the coolest street in America, in Venice Beach, and things kind of blew up. And I, eventually, the coolest thing about it was that we did about 60% of our business was to other businesses for the IT work, and we'd every now and then, like a customer would be like, we'd always ask them like, how'd you find us? In fact, I built it into my intake system, so my employees had to ask them how they found us, or it was a required field on it, or else they couldn't check in a computer. And we started, and then they say, oh, I found you at Google or this or that. And occasionally they'd be like, oh, can can you get us to the first page of Google? So I was able to quickly build my client base just because, you know, when I sold my business at the beginning of 2000, we had done work for 10,000 unique customers in the Los Angeles area. So by the time I sold that business, we already had dozens of SEO clients. So that's how I got my start, was like doing it for my own business in my spare time. And yeah, that's how.
Love that. I love that. Okay, so what part of actually SEO, part of SEO that you actually made you interested in it? I know like it helps you, find your business, get more business, but I mean, what part of SEO actually made you just like want to even do more and actually turn it into a business yourself?
It's a puzzle, it's one of the ultimate puzzles. You could argue that, in the old days, it was like KFC's, 11 herbs and spices, or the Coca-Cola formula that were some of the most prized intellectual property. And now you could easily say that Google's algorithms are the most valuable intellectual property on the planet by far, right? And so it was a puzzle. And, starting from when I was a kid, I always liked puzzles and, Rubik's Cubes and things like that. Even now I have a little collection of puzzles. And so that's what it was like, I was doing IT work, which was really difficult in a lot of cases. Like sometimes it's a cakewalk, and sometimes, you spend hours and you can't solve a problem and you get your butt whipped. And, but there is always a finite answer, right? With IT work, like there's an answer, you just got to figure it out. But with SEO, there are no finite answers in a lot of cases. The algorithms are purposely, in my opinion, purposely obfuscated. There's random and variability and all kinds of things, seasonality and all these other things thrown into the algorithms that make it purposely difficult to find a finite answer for any one niche, much less like across multiple niches. So what really got me into it was like, it was just fascinating trying to figure out this new thing. And then, to see, like with computer repair, was kind of cool. Like it was kind of sad too. It's like you'd go into an office and they'd be, oh, we're glad you're here. And then you'd fix it. And they'd be like, well, thank you. We hope we don't have to ever see you again. But with SEO, it's like you figure something out and then you make more money. And it's like you get this instant gratification that continues to pay dividends. Plus, I mean, with SEO, like who doesn't want the recurring revenue business model? With computer repair, it's like every day you got to fight for more repairs. But with SEO, it's like you land a client base of a few dozen clients at $1,000 a month. I mean, you're making some revenue without having to go out every day and fight, and you can just really focus on helping your customers. So, and that's the other part of it too. It's like, it's really great. It's like, I often will just, scream out loud when I see a #1 ranking that I've been, working on, or a first page ranking that I've been working on for a while. So.
Love that. Okay, I want to go into, I know you kind of mentioned that you did some competitor backlink research, and that's how you kind of like learned it, because you're kind of experimenting on your own like that way on learning SEO. Like, what are some other ways you've been learning SEO, whether it's past, present?
Yeah, so I made the mistake early on. I was busy growing my organization. I had at one point I think I had 17 employees, 15 phone lines, 7 different websites, 7 GMBs, all just for my one IT business. So I didn't realize that there were communities. So I spent 5-6 years, spinning my wheels in my spare time, not realizing that there were these amazing communities. So I think the big trigger for me was when somebody sent me the rhinoplasty plano, the Charles Float's interview with Kyle Roof. And I watched it and I was stupefied. I couldn't believe it. Like, I'm like, what? And it didn't ever occur to me that, it was like the Wizard of Oz, that Google was like the wizard. It's like, he's not all that he, tries to appear to be. And so it reset everything for me. I'm like, everything that I've been operating under has been wrong, like not everything, but almost everything. And so that led me to SEO Signals Lab and Stephen Kang. And then basically I was starting over as a beginner in 2000, whenever this was, right? And so it was very humbling to me to have to, to be in this position. But I found that, SEO Signals Lab is really great for beginners and some intermediate stuff. and I highly recommend, by the way, one of the best things that anybody can do is read the pick her brain segments on SEO Signal Lab. I mean, if you want a jumpstart, just read all of those, because these guys and girls, like, they share so much valuable information. So for me, it was, the discovery of these communities that really got me, going in the right direction.
Love that. You guys, be sure to check out SEO Signals Lab on Facebook. Great place, and other communities. I mean, there's other Skype communities, Slack communities, guys. Be sure to check those out. Okay, let's get into some of our topics that we wanted to chat about today. And first, for those that don't know what CRO is, what is CRO?
That's a good question. CRO, it's a lot of different things to a lot of different people. I mean, I've noticed, from being in my group, that a lot of times I'll think that I understand generally what CRO is, and then somebody from another country will chime in with a very different perspective, and it adds to my knowledge of the topic. Mm-hmm. But more than anything, it's empathy. Really, CRO is empathy, and it's about getting out of your own head, your own desires, your own needs, your own wants, and putting yourself in the other person's shoes and walking a mile in their shoes and saying, okay, what do they need? How do they feel? Mm-hmm. So you have to learn to think and feel like them and present the information on your sales pages in a way that appeals to them, and really, stop being so egocentric, of being so motivated to try to sell something and reverse it 180 degrees, and instead focus on trying to satisfy your customer and solve their problem. It's about, most websites are very company centric, right? They're very company centric. 99.9% of websites, you go there and they think, well, this is our website. It's not your website. It's your customer's website. And it's this critical shift in thinking that has to happen. It's like the internet is like Flint McLaughlin says, like the blind leading the blind. Well, it's like everyone else does it like this, so I should do it like that too. No, in fact, the best thing you could do is do it exactly the opposite of everybody else. In fact, that's one of the best ways to increase conversions, is just do something that no one else is doing, right? Take an approach that no one else is taking. I want to also mention too, with respect to community and so forth, I want to, give some shout outs to the people who've made a difference in my professional career. The first was Rand Fishkin and Whiteboard Fridays, right? And then, at Steven and SEO Signals Lab. And then, Kyle Roof, Ted, and Clint Butler, SEO Fight Club. I've seen every episode, some of them twice. I make my team members watch certain episodes and pay them, of course. And then, now later on, much farther on, was Lee Witcher. Lee Witcher is amazing, and anybody who doesn't know who Lee Witcher is, because he's relatively unknown. He's not very out there publicly, although but you got to tune into Lee Witcher. And Craig Campbell is so fun, and he gives a lot of great information. And Bradley Benner is fantastic too. But the main thing is, if you're not using Quora and you're not following Ted Kubaitis, you're really behind the curve. So just wanted to kind of backtrack a little bit and give thanks to all those people who I've learned so much from.
Love that. All right, guys. If you want to see more, even like Lee Witcher and all of the people that he named, you can watch past episodes. They all have been on here on the SEO Video Show, so be sure to check those guys out. Okay, so I need to drop a knowledge bomb for your CRO definition there, conversion rate optimization under your eyes. So I wanted to go into how can CRO and SEO help each other? You come at knowing both principles pretty well, and so how does both of them work together?
Yeah, it's funny you say that. When you invited me to be on the show, and I'm looking at, Rand Fishkin and Ted and Kyle or Clint and all these people, I'm like, how do I even belong to people? I'm not the world's best SEO. I'm still learning. I would say I'm better than most. But what makes me a threat is that I do love CRO, and I've devoted the last 7 years of my life to understanding it. And really, if you're only doing SEO, you're not doing your job. You're just not doing your job. If you're at one of those SEOs, it's like, look at all my first page rankings, but the client's not getting any leads, then you're really, you should be ashamed of yourself. Now you could say, well, hey, they're only paying me to get rankings. Well, that's true. But guess what? If they're also not getting sales, then your long-term relationship with that customer is in jeopardy, right? So you are obligated, if you're not just in this for the quick buck, you're not a churn and burn type of mentality and agency, you have to learn CRO. You have to, because succeeding online is super complicated. There's so many channels, so many aspects of it, but it boils down to two things: get found and convert the people that find you, right? So what I love about SEO is, like, it's a finite exercise. You can get to the number one position and beat the competition. It's like a team sport in that respect. But CRO is like an individual sport. From a website's perspective, you're only competing with yourself, because you can't know your competitors' conversion rates, and you can never win because there's no 100% conversion rate. Winning in CRO is like winning with personal growth. The win is improving over time. And all you can do is continue to experiment and test and improve over time. It's like our own personal journeys as humans. Increasing conversions is a private journey, right? The other thing about CRO versus SEO is that with SEO, the same principles often apply across many niches. So if you test something and it works in the plumbing niche, it'll probably work in the carpet installation niche, for example. But CRO is not like that. You could have a successful split test on one e-com site, replicate it to another, and it could be a miserable failure. You can reduce conversions. So testing is even more important for CRO than SEO. Now, back to your question, like, how can CRO and SEO help each other? In the past, I used to struggle with towing the line between having, for example, like an SEO optimized H1 tag that was also attention, that was the headline, that was also attention grabbing, right? But you don't have to do that. You can have your H1 tag as the headline of your page, and it's designated purely to be the attention grabbing aspect of the page, which is the only job of a headline, by the way. The only job of a headline is to grab their attention, because without that attention, you risk greatly reducing conversions and having them not read your page, bouncing, or even reading it, just kind of skimming through it. If you didn't grab their attention and get their focus on the page, right? But you can have another H1 tag in the HTML of your site that's not visible, that's SEO optimized. So you don't have to compromise, right? It's important to note too that CRO starts with the search, right? So you always optimize your meta description to get the click. Remember not to write your meta description in a vacuum. Don't just write it like, oh, this looks like a good meta description, and stick it up there. Look at the SERP page that it's going to be on, right? See what the other top pages have for meta description and do what they're not doing. Use all caps if nobody else is. If everybody's using all caps, don't use all lowercase. Add things like free shipping. Add things like free shipping or a discount. Use numbers and symbols if you can. Show product measurements and details, and hone in on a product shopper's primary motivation. For example, often offer more value than any other company on the SERP in your meta description and stand out and beckon that click. That's where CRO starts, on the SERP page.
Damn! Man, that was a lot to unpack there, guys. Be sure to rewind and catch in those little chimes so you can pull out those great knowledge bombs over there. All right. So I want to get into. I first came across you when I attended SEO Rockstars. I heard you speak, and which is like how I was able to bring you onto the show as well, because I want to even pick your brain even more and like talk about the great information that you shared on at SEO Rockstars, and share with the audience here, because like you mentioned, there's not many people focusing on both CRO and SEO, and you have a nice view on showing the value of both and combining it together. I mean, and one of the questions was like you also brought it was the two most important factors that precede a website. What are those two important factors?
Okay, I'll try to be less loquacious, less verbose. So factor one, your ideal customer, right? That's the two things that precede your website are your ideal customer, right? A prospect who fits your ideal customer profile. And And then the second factor is the method of entry to the target page. So factor one, you have to first identify who your ideal customer is. What are their lives like? How do they think? What do they value? What motivates them? What kind of mind map do they commonly have? Do research and find out as much about your ideal customer as possible. You often see these things like, oh, you got to create your ideal customer profile. It seems like a pain in the ass. That's the most important thing of all. It's like if you're just, it's the difference between like a sniper approach and a shotgun approach, right? Which one would you rather be on the battlefield, right? It's like you're really in a bad position if you're in the trenches with a shotgun. You're short range and you're not going to hit much, right? But with a sniper, you can pick off exactly those people that are that you're after, right? So get in their heads and speak specifically to those ideal customers. Don't make the mistake of trying to sell to everybody. Craft your sales page, landing pages, and product pages to specifically cater to one type of customer or one small similar group of customers. And not only don't worry about alienating other types of customers, in fact, you want to push away the undesirable customers. That's how you increase conversions and get better conversions. So factor number two is, where's the prospect coming from? Is it a paid ad, organic search click, an email campaign, a social media post? Make sure that the content around the click matches the content on the landing page. So for example, if you have a paid ad that says portable outdoor chairs, weighs less than 2 pounds, free shipping, and the prospect clicks on that, and the first thing they see on the page is content that talks about something completely different, that's going to frustrate your prospect and increase the bounce rate and reduce conversions. That continuity between the entry point and the target page is important. It's critically important. It starts the potential conversion off on the right foot.
Love that. So I want to take go back and dig a little deeper on, like, for those that don't know how to, is like, how can someone start building their own ideal customer profile? Like how can someone like build that out? Or what can we start?
It's like, for me, it starts with the brainstorming process. Like if you're alone and then you're alone. But if you have family members, a wife, some friends or whatever, just ask them, say, hey, can I pick your brain? Say, I've got this product I'm selling. It's this high-end outdoor tablecloth, right? And, I'm trying to figure out, like, what kind of people would buy these? What do you think? If you have a team of people, like, call a meeting and do brainstorming. And literally, all you're doing is spitballing. You just open a doc and no bad ideas. Like, resist the idea. Someone comes up with some stupid idea. Don't say, oh, that's dumb. That's not the purpose of the brainstorming exercise, at least initially. You just throw everything up on the page, right? And just this exercise of trying to understand the other people, it's like, what could they be thinking? Like what could their questions be? What could their concerns be? What could the deal breakers be? Write them all down on a page, and then, you'll have a much better idea of who that ideal customer is. Now, the other exercises will tell you, well, look at income and demographics and gender and all these things. And that's all part of it too, right? But at the end of the day, if you spend a couple of hours, it's like keyword research, right? It's like, if you don't do it, it's like going, being 500 years ago and going on a journey and saying, hey, I'm going to go to India, and then landing in the United States and saying, oh, I made it. You went the completely wrong direction because you didn't bring a map, right? So the mind map is a map, right? Just like keyword research is a map, right? So that's how you do it, is just spend some time. Like, you really can't go wrong because almost nobody does this, right? So it'll give you a head start with your competition.
Excellent!
All right. Love it. Love it. Love it. I want to get into something you brought up too, where it's like on value propositions. Like, why are value propositions important?
Yeah. So value propositions are important because people are impatient. That's why. It's real simple. It's frustrating when people don't get to the point quickly, right? They meander and they go off and asking, like I'm doing right now. But value propositions are important because when someone is trying to solve a problem, whether they're trying to buy a product, get information, or whatever, they want time. Everybody knows, either consciously or subconsciously, that time is our most valuable and non-renewable asset. You can make more money, can't make more time. So you have to, above all, respect people's time. In fact, one of my pet peeves is like, Oh, free 1 hour consultation. How is that free? I got to give you 1 hour of my life? How is that free? That might not be a good use of my 1 hour of life, right? So value propositions are real simple. Like in 5 seconds or less, tell me, where am I? What am I going to get? What can I do? Why should I do it? That's it. It's real simple. Like in 5 seconds, say it. Headline, subheadline, bullet points, or headline, subheadline, social media, review, star rating, trust icons, accompanying, relevant hero image, whatever it is. Like get to the point, get them interested, get their attention, right? So that headline is the most important. Get their attention. The subheadline, convert that attention into interest, right? And then finally, a call to action. Like it's real simple. Like, hey, get their attention. This is the offer. Click here to get it, right? And then a little picture, something about why they should do it, right? And then that little synopsis serves as an introduction to what the rest of the page is about. So like, okay, this sounds interesting, but I need more information. And from there, that's when you start to craft your page.
Love it. And talking about page, that kind of brings us to my next question here on crafting pages. I mean, like, how would you like craft a perfectly optimized page that can help with SEO and CRO?
Yeah, this is such a great question, and I think a lot of people overthink it. Again, they're copying what other people are doing, and if you're copying what most other websites are doing on the internet, you're going to fail. You're going to have bad conversions most of the time. There's very few amazing websites. In fact, when I did my presentation for SEO Spring Training, I looked at 2,500 dental websites. I saw one that was really good. So, I mean, that's a dismal statistic, right? It's like 1 out of 2,500. So, don't copy. Start with the mentality of like, how can I help the customer? And how do you do that? Well, if you're selling a product or if it's a service, whatever, start by sitting down and putting yourself in your ideal customer shoes and saying, write down all the questions they might have about your product or service. Write down all the concerns they might have about your product or service. Write down all the deal breakers, like no free shipping, sorry, whatever, all these things. Write them all, everything you can think of, right? Then go back through that list and prioritize, and try to figure out what the first question or concern they're going to have is, right? Figure out what that is first. Figure out what the second thing is. Figure out the third thing is, and make your list as concise as possible, because you don't always, like, super long sales pages are not always great, right? They can work really well in certain situations, but they've got to be masterpieces in most cases. And less words is better. The quicker you can make your point, make your offer, the better, right? So, and then once you have this list of questions, concerns, deal breakers, then create your page. Shoot for 7 sections. Try to answer them all in 7 sections, 5 sections if it's a lead gen type service site, right? Don't go over 10 or 11 sections. Don't make it too long, right? Unless it's absolutely necessary, right? And then structure the page in the order that you think that your ideal customer is going to need that information. And when you do that, something kind of magical happens. Like, you ever had this conversation with like a person and you're talking and then that person finishes your sentence? It's like that, right? Like you're reading, it's like, well, how much does this cost? How much does this cost? Oh, it costs that. Well, what are the dimensions? I can't tell you how many times, like, I've looked at a product on Amazon and I have to read this big ass page and they forget to put what the product dimensions or the weight of the product is, or just really basic verbiage. Another great example is, like, most recently I was looking to join a mastermind, a really well-known SEO, and I love this guy, but I went to his mastermind page, big long sales page, and I looked through the page for like 10 minutes. I was super frustrated. I emailed him. I'm like, when is the mastermind? Do you get access to the past episodes? How frequent is the mastermind? Can I share the link with my team members? And like, I literally made a list of like 10 questions that were unanswered on this page. And I sent them to him. Like, I need the answers to these questions so I can make an informed decision, right? Oftentimes, like, yes, you want to employ emotion and all these things, but those are more advanced. You got to start with the basics. Answer the questions they might have. Give them the product dimensions and details about your service that, that cater to the questions they might have first. And to the credit of this person, within a few days, they added the answers to those questions on the landing page. So I hope that answers.
Love it, love that stuff. Okay, we have a first question here for our audience. We have one from Stefan, and this kind of like leads to more kind of like what you are kind of specialized in on like you do a lot more e-commerce SEO, right? That's something like you love doing, and you help out others. Right, Robert? What's USP you'd suggest for an e-commerce site? Many other sites sell the same items.
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, you know, this goes back to like analyzing the SERP page, right? Mm-hmm. You have to be really aware of what your competitors are doing. If you're selling the same thing as, you know, 100 other places for around the same price, then why would they buy from you versus somebody else, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're trying to create a USP, you know, a lot of that has to do with branding, right? How professional does your brand look, right? So if all other things equal, price and product similarities and so forth, you know, it's going to come down to the intangibles, right? Does your website feel professional? Is it fast? Is it snappy? It's like, you know, they may, like, depending on the price of your product, if it's a high ticket item, mm-hmm. I know from looking at a lot of heat maps, they're going to go to your about page, right? They're going to be like, who is this company? Can I trust them with this $1,000 purchase? Like, I don't know anything about this company, right? Mm-hmm. So, you know, it's important to, you know, consider, you know, your about page in those types of cases. But for lower dollar ticket items, you know, you really have to, for me, you know, a lot of the work comes into, you know, how well is your brand presenting itself. Mm-hmm. So.
Love it. This kind of relates to the previous question and what you just kind of talk about, like about the SERPs is like, and with others, is like, what is the best SERP example with the perfect CRO parameters in the SEO industry?
There's no, I mean, if I can, maybe, can you repeat the question?
It's like, what is the best SERP example with the perfect CRO parameters?
For me, it's the one that gets the attention of the person doing the search. Mm-hmm. You know, we all know based on, you know, statistics and research that the number one listing gets a vast majority of the clicks. Mm-hmm. So if you're not number one, and you want to stand out, you know, there's a lot of things you can do. Number one is schema, like review schema, product schema. You know, get that up there so you have that kind of review rating down below. Like that's what we do a lot for our clients is like, I look and I'm like, oh, the top 10 results, no one has review schema. We pop review schema up, and regardless of their position on the page, you know, you get that extra little bit of space for your star rating, right? Mm-hmm. Or in some cases, a little product image out to the right of it. But so, and I, you know, honestly, it's easy to say, oh, write a really good meta description, but I don't think a lot of people read those, mm-hmm. right? They kind of just like, they're just clicking like as quickly as possible. But for the people that do, you know, provide value, like see things from their perspective. Like, what is the best thing you can say in 160 characters? Mm-hmm. You know, is it free shipping? You know, is it the actual price? So they know it's like, hey, oh, $55. That's exactly what I want to spend. Click right here. Now they're not going to price shop anymore. So it's really about holistically analyzing the entire SERP and saying, how can I stand out?
Love that. Okay, we're coming close to time here. If you have any more questions, please ask them in the live chats. I'm gonna go ahead and ask, like, if there's if you can do a quick like fire on some increasing conversions tips. Like, what are some things that we haven't talked about that we can automatically increase conversions or help out our conversion rate optimization?
Yeah, this is, you know, everyone wants that quick win, whether it's, you know, SEO and CRO. I don't feel like there really are any silver bullets for SEO or CRO. That said, I mean, there's some really important things to consider. Number one is that sometimes a lower conversion rate is better. So I'll give you an example, right? Like traditional CRO logic will tell you, well, reduce all the form fields, right? So don't ask for phone number if someone's trying to contact you with email. If they wanted to talk to you on the phone, they wouldn't be filling out your email form. They can see your phone number on your page. They wanted to talk to you, they would have called you. So they're filling out a form, right? So why are you asking for their phone number, right? So reduce it, just name, don't say first name, last name, reduce the form fields to as minimum as possible, right? Now, you do that, you will increase conversions in most cases, but sometimes those leads won't be as high quality as you like. So, you know, by asking a ton of questions, you're only getting the people filling out your form that are the most motivated to work with you, right? To buy your product or service. So that's something to consider. It's like, it's not always about increasing conversions. Sometimes it's about increasing the quality of conversions. And sometimes a lower conversion rate can be better than a higher conversion rate. Like, we've all dealt with, like, you know, web form spam. Like, my God, like, you don't want these people that aren't serious, right? Okay, so with that in mind, for lead gen, like, my favorite tip is, like, focus on one goal, right? If you're doing lead gen or service, focus on one goal. Don't, like, if you have a carpet cleaning page, don't say, you know, click here for, you know, to get an estimate, and click here for upholstery services, and then they're scrolling down. You say, oh, click here to talk to a representative, and then they scroll more, and it's like, oh, click here to get our you know, sign up for our monthly specials. And, like, you know, by the time you're done with the page, there's like 5, 6 different goals. If you add the phone number and this and that, there's like 7, 8 different conversions, potential conversions on the page. Less is not more. In most cases, less is less, and more is less. So figure out what the one goal of the page is, right? 2, if you absolutely need it, like, for example, a form fill or a phone call. Don't barrage them with a bunch of different ways to convert, right? Pick one clear goal on the page and structure the entire page around that one goal, right? If you're talking about e-com, right? Get all the pertinent information, like the most important information above the fold. I go back to my Amazon example. Like, it's ridiculous how often I'm trying to buy a product and I can't find a critical piece of the information. So get that really important information above the fold, make the CTA button as high up as possible. If it's for affiliate, for example, you know, you have to be genuine with affiliates. Like, affiliates have ruined the reviews world. They've ruined it. Like, I can't get a legitimate review on anything anymore. And you don't know if the person writing the review has actually even tested the product. So your affiliate content has to come across as really super genuine, right? It has to have that human touch, and it can't just be like, oh, this product is great, because people ultimately have gotten wise to these things, and they'll know you're just trying to make affiliate revenue.
Love it, love it. I didn't see other questions come in, so I want to go ahead and ask my last question that I ask all my SEO professionals that come on here. If someone wants to get into SEO industry, become an SEO professional themselves, what would your advice be to them?
Well, my first advice would be a question. It's like, are you okay with constant disappointment? Because if you are, then SEO might be for you. My advice would be real simple, is, you know, don't do what I did. Join a community as quickly as possible. Join a Facebook group related to it. Join multiple Facebook groups. Join masterminds. Watch shows like this. I mean, I'm systematically going through every SEO video show and watching every single one. And you never know. That's the other benefit of it too. By participating in these groups, you make these connections. Like, you know, out of nowhere, Dre approached me because I was, you know, I want his show to succeed. I really like your show, Dre. And I would go through every show I watch. I go through your comments. I like every single comment, you know, put the thumbs up on every single, I know it's like no one's doing that, you know, except you, for it comes to you. But I think about your show as like the way that I would think about it as a business owner. So that would be my advice, is just, you know, start really getting out and make connections in the community. That's the most important thing. And I want to also, I don't know if I have any more opportunity to speak, but I want to just commend you on such an amazing show. You know, the way that you can just really tell, Dre, that you love SEO, and the homework that you put into each and every one of your guests, and the enthusiasm with which you interview everybody. You know, it's very endearing, and I thank you.
Hey, thank you for that, Robert. Okay, so if there's any other comments that make this episode feel complete for you, and how can people get a hold of you? Please, the stage is yours.
Yeah, so we're always available to help anybody with SEO, and especially CRO. I know there's plenty of SEOs out there, but there's not a ton of great CROs in the world. So you can always reach out to me at info@nimbus.market. And join my Facebook group, CRO Junkies.
CRO Junkies, that's on Facebook. Be sure. All right. I know I asked you this in Skype, and I always ask this just for the hell of it. if you can, if you want to. We know you. I heard you tell me you love playing music, and music is something that you're a fan of. Is there anything you can play for us before you sign us out?
I wish. No, I've got serious performance anxiety. Like, if you look around like this, I work in a music studio, and I've got like dozens of instruments, and it's. But yeah, I'm too shy.
It's okay. It's all right.
I loved when you had Steve Toth on and he did that guitar thing. Like that was awesome.
Yeah, there's also one did a violin. She did one an electric violin online.
I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, it's Z Scott. It was actually a really nice one. So check that one out. And all right, guys. Robert, can you hold on for one quick second while I sign off here? All right.
Sure.
All right, guys. That concludes another episode of the SEO Video Show. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And I will see you next week. Peace out.
Thank you for watching. Hope you come back next week. Make sure to subscribe. You don't want to miss a thing. Hope you learn something new, because the vibe is incredible. From the special SEO professionals, SEO video show. Let's work. Want to see you be an SEO expert. Paul Andre De Vera helping you step it up. No delay right now. Time to level up. Hey, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe. Woo!